Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the StarLadder and iLeague Star Series. This is season number 3. I'm D2. With me is Firebat once again for this next match. We're gonna have a repeat for the first time of a couple of our players here. We're gonna have DrHippi versus Tice. Both of those players losing earlier today. Unfortunately for DrHippi, his was due to a bit of a DC in game number 5, which was turning out to be quite the game there, Firebat. But unfortunate for him. Needs to win now, though.
Yeah, they both need to win. They're both in the hot seat with both having a loss a little bit earlier on in the day. Tice and Hippie both bringing Jade Druid, both bringing Paladin, but different variants of Paladin. Tice with the mid-range Murloc Paladin, DrHippi on the N'Zoth Paladin. Both bringing Rogue. Tice's Rogue is banned. Hippie's Rogue is still live, and then the difference in the lineup falls with the Mage and the Priest, and I guess Tice wasn't watching the last game where Priest went 0-3 because he banned the Priest. It makes some sense in his lineup. He wants to try and help his Mage get through the best he can, because in Conquest it's all about getting your weakest deck through, right? And his Mage is the deck that struggles the most, and a matchup where it could find success against is either against Miracle Rogue or Quest Rogue. So he doesn't want to ban the Rogue and kind of isolate his Mage from getting a win out of the Conquest set, where Mage oftentimes really struggles against the current forms of Priest because they're able to discover so many cards with Draconet Operative as well as Lyra and just generate survivability and just outlast/outvalue the Mage.
Do you see that as one of the disadvantages or downsides of going for the 4 strongest decks? Right, because from Tice's side, you go for the Druid, Rogue, Paladin, and then the 4th strongest, arguably, is this Gunther Mage. And you go, right, I'll just bring the 4 strongest decks. But now it's changing up his ban strategy where you're leaving up your opponent's Rogue in favor of banning the Priest. And that just feels like you're lowering your win percentage. What do you think about that?
I definitely think you want to find decks that work with a coherent ban. So decks that all work better if you ban the same thing. So if you want to ban, Rogue, I don't think you would want to bring Mage, as Mage typically does very well against all forms of Rogue.
Right.
So maybe in that vein, you take like the 5th best class if you still want to ban Rogue. But Priest does fairly well against Jade Druid, especially the Dragon variants, and it does fairly well against the Paladin. So it makes sense, honestly, with Tice's lineup to just ban a Priest.
Yeah. Druid's doing a bit better against Priest because than it did in the past because of the arsenal or all the things that Priests had to give up in this current expansion. But DrHippi in kind of a rough spot here. You can see him really just kind of facepalm a little bit with the second Jade Idol.
Yeah,
that's one of the things about Jade Idol, right? Is that you want it on turn 1 in a sense just to get your Jades rolling, but you never want to draw the second one until you're ready for it, right? So sometimes people advocate for not keeping the first one because you don't want the second one to be a completely dead draw. You'll be fine with, having smaller Jades just to make sure that you have every card or more of a chance for every card in your hand to be useful.
Also, a little bit of a facepalm there as Tice takes the trade, which plays around the Earthen Scales hero power, which DrHippi could have had to answer the Mana Worm. So he's upset that he can't do that. But now he's just having that debate you were talking about. Do I make the minion or do I hold on to this Jade Idol for the next 10 turns? And that's a tough question.
The thing is, you're kind of giving your opponent an alternate win condition, which is to just remove everything, which this Mage is kind of capable of doing. If you do go for the Jade Idol, I believe you go up to a 9/9 and then stop.
Right.
I mean, if you go for the minion right now, I mean.
Okay, which a 9/9 is pretty big, but it's definitely not infinite. And
right.
DrHippi holds on to the idol there for the infinite possibility later on down the road throughout the game, and it's really expensive for his current tempo.
And Tice goes for the Frostbolt just to kill off the 2/2, even though it did give his opponent a bit of mana here, and this is not feeling very good if you're DrHippi. Already have that dead card in the Jade Idol. Earthen Scale's not helping too much out either. Fail Rage is okay, but since you're taking the damage already, you'd rather save that for the armor. And if Tice sees this get taken out with a Fail Rage and then followed up a Hero Power, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Now that gives him another win condition after that as well. It's like, okay, you have less armor now.
Sure. You still have the second Feral Rage of 2 Earthen Scales, but it's just the slow start from Druid. Not very good for DrHippi. No draw going on. Not even that big of Jade Ramp happening.
Yeah, this is about as good as you can hope for if you are the mage, because you have a pretty decent curve, pretty decent hand, and Drew is just kind of shaking its head. That said, it's kind of crazy. This game has felt like it's gone on for a little bit, but Thijs is on 4 mana.
Right. DrHippi has had the advantage of just ramping up his mana a ton. If he's able to pick up like a Nourish and be able to draw cards with it, this game could turn around and go in the Druid's favor quite quickly.
So Thijs is kind of wondering whether he should go for the Primordial Glyph right now, or if he just goes for as many minions as possible, which probably means he goes for Cabal, Courier, and the Arcanologist.
Right.
Because later on he can go for the Ice Block into Medivh's Valet to make sure he gets that value out of that.
Yeah, I'd like to see him go with that play, but it looks like he's going with the just
Double minion.
Arcanologist and Medivh's Valet. He's valuing holding on to the coin more than the 3 damage of Medivh's Valet, which is a little interesting. He wants to be able to coin out maybe an Alexstrasza or Medivh really on in the game, and that's a huge draw for DrHippi. He needed some way to spend this mana he's ramped up into, and that is a great way to spend it.
I think that's literally the best card in his deck to draw right now. If you think about it, because he doesn't want gadgets in for another couple turns. It's better than, I suppose you could maybe make the argument for Jade Behemoth, if you were guaranteed to draw Aya pretty soon afterward, just because, these minions trade a little bit worse into Jade Behemoth, but still. Pretty good. That completely turns the game around, honestly. Well, maybe not turn it around, but it comes to a bit of a halt, right? It looked like Thijs was on his way to winning the game, and now it's like a bit dicey.
Discover options. They look like card backs. Here we go.
Certainly do. There we go. Arcane Intellect seems like the one.
The other ones seem to not accomplish very much, so I agree with you there. You gotta just... It's the only card that does anything.
Yeah. Gets me more of my own stuff.
The trades on board are super awkward. 2/3s trading into 3/3 and a 5/3. That's just nasty.
Yeah, I do like this to see the Cabal Courier here. Then next turn you can coin that Fire Lens Portal, which you've been saving. Ooh, Flame Strike, not too bad. You do that as well. Yeah, but the problem is your opponent's probably taking some value trades here, which doesn't feel too good. The one issue for DrHippi is that all your value trades go down the drain if you decide to play the Primordial Drake. So
you may just Primordial Drake and jam face. Maybe take one trade to help out against Flame Strike. So trade the 3/3 into a 2/3. Play Primordial Drake, jam face. It's a clean usage of 8 mana, and it picks up some value. And this isn't a matchup where Primordial Drake often picks up too much value.
It does exactly that. And I don't really want to pop. I want to force your opponent to pop that guy. Or that girl.
Right. Thijs almost has enough damage to burn out over the top. 1 Feral Rage has been used, but it's always something to be kind of thinking about in the back of your mind.
I'm going to fill up his hand. A couple of Flame Strikes here. Arcanologist. I believe picks up a barrier in most of these lists. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now just to make sure he doesn't pick that up off the top anytime soon. But Thijs is now turned into a Freeze Mage.
He's got double Flame Strike, which could stall down a lot of board developments from DrHippi.
Not that DrHippi has much to develop anyway.
Yeah, and without any of the finisher cards, Thijs is having a really hard time getting into a position where he can close out this game in an effective manner. Like, he can try and close it out with Burn, but he's always scared of that second Feral Rage popping up or the Earthen Scales being a disaster. So he really would like to find Medivh, or maybe if he runs it, Archmage Antonidas, or even just Alexstrasza for the 8/8 body can be quite powerful and useful.
Well, more stuff here for DrHippi, more J's, I should say. What do you think about DrHippi committing to Earthen Scales on the Aya here, just to make sure that that doesn't get pinged off? And then you can start jamming face. You do get the 6 out of it.
6
and
is
you're
probably enough.
Yeah, because otherwise, if your opponent does start burning you, you're not gonna. I mean, you'll get 5. You'll get 6 off the Aya because of the Jade Blossom you play right now. So you will eventually get 6 anyway, but it does make it a bit annoying for your opponent.
Okay. He's thinking about Earthen Scalings to help him get outside of Flame Strike range while pushing with the Primordial Drake.
How much mana is Thijs at right now?
I believe Thijs is at 7 mana.
Okay.
It's a little hard to see. So now this way, if Flame Strike comes down, the 2/2 can no longer kill the Primordial Drake.
Flame Strike doesn't even seem to it would make a whole lot of sense here because you're giving your opponent a 5/5 and leaving up 5/7 or 5/3 in this case.
Yeah, that's the idea from DrHippi. He wants to try and set up as powerful of a push as possible. Thijs is actually getting close to getting popped. And if you can get in a position where you can just always threaten to pop with Swipe or Feral Rage or whatnot, then it's a good position to be. Force them to have to defensive Alexstrasza, or if they just don't have it, maybe they just die.
Thijs has a lot of polarized, options in his hand, right? He's either burning the face or not really clearing the board, just kind of, sort of. He could just Firelance Portal onto the Primordial Drake, clear that guy out with the help of the Arcanologist.
Sure. And that leaves 10 power in play, and you're afraid of Swipe. You're afraid of Feral Rage. Those kind of things just ending you. So it's a little risky there, but that is ending up. You can't find much better.
Yeah, I think he's gotten to, wow, that's
a high roll.
It's pretty good with 1 minion in hand that you don't really need to play anyway. But yeah, you could die to Swipe, but I think Thijs is at the point where you need to take some sort of risk here. He's not. Yeah, he has a billion cards and the opponent has 2, but it's just fundamentally not the greatest matchup. So
3 outs for DrHippi to pop Thijs. Pop him at 1. Doesn't hit it. I think it might be time for the all-in extension push. Hey, maybe you don't need it. Maybe the 5/5's big enough.
Yeah, I don't think you use the JL here. I think you win. The thing is, DrHippi has time on his side. As long as he doesn't die, he wins as long as he holds on to his JL, right? On top of that, he needs spells to combine with his Gadgetzan if he ever picks it up, right?
Well, yeah, if you happen to hit Gadget, though, and then you play your 1 spell, and then you hit a minion, that's a sad Gadget.
Well, here's the thing. You need 2 spells, right? And that's one of your spells. If you use it right now, then all of a sudden you need to now pick up 2 spells and a Gadgetzan, whereas now you just need 1 spell and a Gadgetzan. But he's going to go all in.
Yeah, I'd like going all in. It's just like you need to hit Nourish either way. I don't know. And the board is so big at this point, it's very difficult for Thijs to ever remove it still. He needs like Blizzard into Flame Strike, and even then, if you draw another Jade card, then he needs a single target removal for that. It's just like, do you really need to go infinite? These are big enough, I think.
Well, here's the thing for Thijs. He can go, let's see. If he goes Mana Worm into Sorcerer's Apprentice, he has 5 mana left, so he can coin Flame Strike, put up a couple minions on board. And then the following turn, he can use those minions to start clearing the board while playing Ice Barrier and Ice Block. You want to get Ice Barrier down kind of quickly, because if your opponent pops you, and then you play Ice Barrier afterward, then they could just wait to get Swipe. If they don't have enough pressure from minions.
1 Earthen Scales has been used, and 1 Feral Rage has been used. The burn plan's a potential.
Okay.
Oh, that's the card he needed.
DrHippi, he's happy to get it, but he's also wondering why he couldn't just get that earlier, because he could have just cycled the Jade Idol, but yeah. It's going to go ahead and pop. And by the way, just explaining Thijs' last turn, he didn't want to use coin or anything like that, so this turn he's going to be able to go the Flame Strike into coin, barrier, or block.
Right. So he can clear the board and put up the next ice block so that he can't get they can't re-die.
Does he go for barrier just to be risky, or just to make sure that, like, say your opponent, it's kind of a bluff, right? But if you ice block here, then they know it's barrier afterward, and they could just wait and swipe, and you have to wait to Alexstrasza, right?
Well, they probably swipe either one, just to be safe, right? So, I don't know. He's going to go with Barrier. He's going to risk it against the swipe. Swipe comes out, he is going to die.
Yeah, I think unless you had Alexstrasza in hand, I think this risk is worth taking. And you see him with like a wry smile. He's like, "Are you gonna do it?" And he's pretty happy to see this.
Yeah, DrHippi doesn't even try and draw with Nourish to find the swipe.
Well, he figures he wants a Primordial Drake.
Yeah.
Or he wants to like make sure, but yeah, it was the Barrier. And Thijs is a bit of a lifeline now.
Yeah, Thijs has the ability to fatigue DrHippi. He does not need to rely on the burn win condition any longer. He has more value in his deck, as both Jade Idols have been forced to be used.
And I think we're looking at an 8/8 and a 9/9, and that's it, unless I've counted miscorrectly or kind of incorrectly.
Mm-hmm. There's the 2 behemoths left, right?
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I think that's it. 2/8. So 2 idols, 2 blossoms, 2 spirits, 2 behemoths,
and Aya.
And Aya. So actually, that's a 10/10. He needs to take care of up to 10/10 because Aya's 2.
So there's 2 behemoths and a Jade Spirit remaining in the deck for DrHippi. He finds the behemoth.
Full disclosure: the reason why I did that calculation to 9 was because I was playing against a shaman in a tournament one time, and I was counting the hex. So my bad.
He's thinking about whether or not he wants to swipe this Mana Worm or just try and develop his Jade minions to apply as much pressure as fast as he can. How much time does he want to give Thijs? The answer is none. He wants to just immediately start representing lethal again, and I really like this. You also get the potential out of swipe Feral Rage or double swipe on your opponent's face. So it's a nice scary board to represent.
Right, so Thijs immediately goes for just kind of digging into his deck rather than playing out the Pyroblast to take this out. Does pick up the Alexstrasza, which helps him stay alive in future turns. We'll lead off with Babbling Book, see what he can't get. Perhaps he gets
That's a good one.
Well, yeah.
With a Mana Worm on the table, double buff potentially. Oh, 0 mana Arcane Intellect.
Wow.
Counterspell as well could be quite powerful to just kind of stop DrHippi from developing.
How many cards are they into the deck? Because what if DrHippi comes into like a fatigue game plan?
It seems like they both have in the double digits of cards remaining, judging by the size of the deck.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore, yeah. It just shrunk down to the next size over there. So yeah, Thijs' deck is getting mighty thin.
Well, he has to play the ice block. He's just set on board. And there's no bluffing because there would be nothing on board. But it does leave DrHippi with the ability to just pop it right now.
Oof, that's a good draw.
Wow.
That plus swipe is going to be able to set up. Actually, the awkwardness comes in the fact that while DrHippi pops Thijs, he pops him at 8 life still, and 7 of that life is armor. Meaning, after the Alex comes down, Thijs isn't at 15. Thijs is going to be at 15 plus 7, so he's going to be at 22 life. So maybe you swipe the face to remove some of the armor first, and then play the Jade Behemoth. That way you have more damage set up on board, but... Alright.
Okay, well, he's going to be at 21 if he does Alex himself, and there's going to be lots of damage on the field.
It's going to be 21 damage. So it works out.
Yeah, it works out.
Works out quite nicely to make it so Thijs can't simply Alex himself.
Yeah, so math checks out, and DrHippi just has lethal. I don't know how Thijs gets out of this any other way. Looks like he agrees, so gonna go for the one thing that has any sort of randomness in his hand, other than Firelands Portal. And
Servant of Yogg.
Let's go. Let's go. 5 or less, though. Brawl, perhaps. Mortal Strike.
It does
for 6.
It's close to doing something. So close, yet so far. The Gunther Mage falling just short. Thijs just couldn't string together any of his win conditions. Firelands Portal, Alexstrasza, Medivh, all in the very bottom of his deck. So even though he's off to a great start against DrHippi's deck, the Jade Druid eventually got around to winning because it was just given so much time.
And this is the second time where we had a Mage look pretty good against the Druid and kind of almost get there, but in the end,
it's just so much healing. Druid just has like 30 life gain and infinite threats in their deck, and even if they don't technically go infinite with Jade Idols, as you said, they get up to a 10/10 for free. That's pretty big.
Yeah, and then 7/7, 8/8, 9/9 along the way as well.
Yeah,
so.
it's no joke trying to outvalue a Jade Druid.
Well, let's see if Thijs can do it this time. And we're going to see the Miracle Rug come out here from DrHippi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting that it's not Quest Rogue. That's probably something he didn't really want to reveal this early on in the tournament, because a lot of people just ban the Rogue assuming that it's Quest Rogue, and the ones that leave it up have a lineup that's designed to do well against Quest Rogue, and then you get them with the Miracle Rogue that they're not expecting. So that's the thought process behind bringing a different archetype in here, where now he's going to get a bit punished for it because the Mage is going to be very, very good at defeating Rogue.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what the Rogue is. The Mage is great at dealing with it. The Questing Adventure, though, in DrHippi's hand could...
Well, the Edwin Van Cleef in his hand is what's going to go nuts. Look at that. Next turn, he could even go off next turn, right? And go coin, prep, hallucinate Edwin, or even wait a little bit longer, coin a 1-mana spell, then prep another spell, and then Edwin. It's going to be massive.
Yeah, 8/8 Van Cleef, and wow, okay, well, it also
you do it, yeah.
Coin 10/10, sure. You see, I'm kind of wondering what to do here. He could take it somewhat slowly.
Why?
And well, the reason why is because you get the Sherazin note, and your opponent kills the Sherazin, and then you make a massive Edwin while putting the Sherazin back together.
Right. Or he could be dead, and then you play Sherazin. Like, you kill him really quick if you go coin, hallucination, hit a spell. I think you definitely start the turn with hallucination and look for a spell you could prep this turn. And if you hit one, then you double coin, prep that spell Edwin. Then you're playing a ridiculous amount of cards, but he's going to be more patient with it. It's going to open up more scenarios where it could get answered.
Yeah, definitely. This is a risk, right? Well, a lot of players feel like it's risky to just go all in, put the Van Cleef out there, but it's in other ways riskier to wait because you're giving your opponent more time and more mana to deal with it in future turns.
All right, let's see. Maybe he coins Sherazin this turn. He can still make a large Edwin after he's coined the Sherazin, and the Sherazin baits the Polymorph. So if Thijs has a Polymorph, he's going to Polymorph Sherazin, and then you can get him with the giant Edwin Van Cleef after the fact. But another passive play here.
Extremely slow. All right.
Very patient. Wants to get a lot of value out of his cards.
Well, the way he's doing it now, he can bring back this Sherazin multiple times. So what is that?
Great.
The Sherazin value.
Yeah, pretty soon he could play Questing Adventure and Edwin in the same turn, which by pretty soon, I mean right now.
Now, yeah.
So this is going to be what he's waiting for. And with the backstab pickup, this is going to be nuts. So the slow approach is paying off for him, as he is now able to go coin, backstab, prep, fan, Edwin, clearing the entire board, creating 2 giant minions. And what better way to play around Polymorph than give your opponent 2 minions they need to Polymorph?
Yeah.
They simply cannot do that. So.
They simply cannot.
Yeah. I like the play, how it works out for DrHippi. He set it up.
Well, you know what I dealt with it, though? Potion of Polymorph and Polymorph.
That would have been funny. It's tough.
Oh, that's a big boy. Oh, that's a big boy.
So that's 22 damage. 28, 29. He's 1 off lethal next turn. If he gets a 0-mana card off hallucination, like the freeze potion, and his board doesn't get touched, that's lethal.
Oh, the Paveling book. Oh my goodness. Oh, that just happened. There's still an 8/8 which grows, but
still an 8/8, yeah.
That's step 1. That's step 1 to not immediately dying if you're Thijs. Oh my goodness.
Well, hallucination could get the card that copies a minion. That's always fun here.
That is true. Steam Surger is a guy that you can put on the field.
Well, you already got a shares, and you probably take Flame Geyser so you get double buff value out of it. Doesn't end up taking the guy though. I mean, it's only.
I think he just wants as many guys as possible. Although, the Steam Surger does. Okay, well, you need to play Emma until the turn before. I kind of like your play as well because you can revive the shares and so. All right,
you can revive the shares and you can kill him with the questing.
Is Polymorph Boar still a card?
Polymorph Boar, I do not believe, is a card.
Okay. It's hard to keep track of these things, especially the cards that are like kind of on the borderline.
Right. I'm going to want to see something to stop this from killing you. And that's going to be a Frostbolt.
Yeah. Gotta slow down just a little bit. Eventually, will the questing down. Problem is, it just kind of grows.
Right. Like it's just going to continue getting larger as the game goes on. Steam Surger, Eviscerate, clean up the board a little bit. Punch Face for 5. Even he's just going to pull patches this turn. Sure, get more cards to play.
I think he wants to clear the board so that nothing can trade into his questing. So that even if it dies, a lot of stuff has to go into it.
He's full clearing, it looks like. And oh no, he's going to full tempo. He's trying to just end the game outright next turn, extending all of his resources onto the board. There's no backup plan for this man.
Nope.
He's in there. And it makes sense. You got a 14-11. Let's go.
Yeah, this guy doesn't kill him, then it's not happening.
And Flame Strike does nothing.
Well, Thijs doesn't even go for the ice block route. Says, I can't deal with this. There's no way for me to deal with this. DrHippi going big. Not going home yet. Up 2-0.
Good identification, knowing to wait for the questing Edwin together. He had that in his hand from the beginning, and he saw down the line. He's like, you know what? Turn 4. I'm going to double coin, play this all together. That's going to win me the game. And he's probably just thinking, wow, look at these dumb casters talking about how I should go all in here. I got a 100% win 3 turns from now.
That's true. That is one way to go about it. All right, well, it's going to be N'Zoth Paladin.
Wow, and, mulligans away. Both of the Nourished is against N'Zoth Paladin. One of the things about N'Zoth Paladin is they have no offensive minions prior to turn 4. So they have almost 0 possible ways they can mount an offensive on you. I really think Nourish is a powerful card in this matchup.
Right. On the other hand, you do kind of want to get your Jades going before... Like, yeah, they can't mount any sort of crazy offensive, but if you don't have your Jades already built up by the time they go into Karen and Tyrion, then you kind of lose at that.
I guess. Nourish is just so good. Ramping mana and then drawing with the second one. It's usually crazy strong, because as long as you draw through your deck efficiently, you win this matchup every time. Dirty Red, not the greatest in this matchup, especially not that early on. Later on, though, it's able to pull out one of the Jade minions, kind of lower the count, and clean up at the same time. He's going to risk it here. He's going to get slightly rewarded.
That's pretty good.
No answer for the Ashbringer in the future. Earth and Scales push seems like the natural play.
If he could just hero power, slightly weak to Consecration, but
that's the
that
issue.
does get rid of Inequality Activator. All right, so just gonna make sure to play around that a little bit here.
Yeah. Now you force your opponent to answer with True Silver and take 6, and that's beautiful. Consecrate would have sucked for you, and they don't have that many good turn 4 plays.
Oh, there's the True Silver. Harrison always feels bad when he gets taken up by a minion. It's like that. He wants to put it in a museum so badly. Just can't do it.
All right.
Dead turn here for Thijs, unless he wants to swipe the face.
You don't want to do that. Put that card down.
What's even more awkward is that he's kind of forced into coining into the Jade Behemoth next turn. If he doesn't have in hand something to do with the turn after that, and you feel kind of bad, obviously.
Yeah. Meanwhile, DrHippi's hit to the strongest curve his deck can produce. True Silver into the Tauren into Karen. It is the power spike of N'Zoth Paladin.
It's almost like it sounded like a joke. It's like True Silver into Infested Tauren.
Oh, that's max power for N'Zoth Paladin. The ultimate curve. It's not an aggro deck, man. Its curve's a little weaker. Excels at removal in the late game.
5-minute 2/3, got him.
Everybody's got to have something.
It comes back. It comes back.
Right.
That's the power. But yeah, it is pretty powerful. And if Thijs doesn't get rolling, this is the way the DrHippi could win, especially if he gets N'Zoth anytime soon.
Yeah, imagine he hits N'Zoth for turn 10. That'd be brutal for Thijs. But even now, N'Zoth Paladin ahead on board is not something you see every day. That's surprising.
And this is one of the downsides of N'Zoth Paladin trying to win out of the game, is that you get ahead and then you have all these defensive options, and you just kind of wish that Doomsayer wasn't there.
Ooh. That's a fun little way to set up for Tyrion, maybe. You could try and get a Doomsayer to go off this turn. Maybe do a little healing.
Yeah, prevent your opponent from developing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't quite need the healing. Probably just wait for a turn down the road. And what can Thijs do to combat this?
Well, he could kill the Doomsayer if he so chose, but a lot of times you got to expect he's going to ignore the Doomsayer and just pop the Karen. But he does have a sneaking suspicion that DrHippi may want to play Tyrion next turn.
Just a little bit. Especially because DrHippi's clearing off his own Karen to do so.
Right.
Problem for Thijs is there's nothing really he can do about it. He, like you mentioned, he can clear the Doomsayer, but why? You know, you're not developing anything anyway, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think you just pop the Karen, push face for 2, and hope your 37 life is enough to help you embrace all of that Ashbringer.
just embrace it with open arms.
Yeah, you hope they don't find N'Zoth. Like, if DrHippi's slow to find N'Zoth, then Thijs can easily still just cycle through his deck, ramp the Jades, and win the game before N'Zoth matters.
Yeah, if DrHippi doesn't find... In fact, we've been talking about how good DrHippi has been rolling thus far, but he needs N'Zoth in the next 4 to 5 turns.
Right.
Maximum. Or else he just loses.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have enough pressure in his deck. Maybe Elise. Maybe if he just Elises in the pack very quickly, but that's about it. Well, that helps N'Zoth as well. That's all the N'Zoth cards in this deck, I'm somewhat sure.
Yeah, now he just needs the N'Zoth and he's good to go. It's a good Aldor turn. Max pressure. I would play every minion I could this turn. Take the bump. Unless you want to try and play around the second Primordial Drake, then I guess hold back the Wild Pyromancer. Your opponent has had very lackluster turns thus far, but I don't know if I'd buy it.
All right, well, Tyrion, look at this. Excuse me, the Aldor plus the Tyrion. The Primordial Drake kills off your own Primordial Drake, so you're kind of okay doing that, but Hero Power is reasonable as well. I'm okay with not developing the Pyromancer.
Yeah, holding that back's fine. There's just a lot of swipe stuff and Primordial Drake or whatever that could kind of AoE your board at the moment as you're extending. But it is a race. You have to kill your opponent before they go infinite with Jades. Or the Jades get too large for you to handle.
So Thijs has Gadgetzan into Wild Growth next turn if he so chooses. Potentially doesn't go for that next turn anyway, just because he needs to get back onto the board. But the point is that Thijs has the long game sewn up as long as his opponent doesn't have N'Zoth very, very soon.
Right.
So he just needs to survive and needs to go for full tempo.
Yeah, that's why we see him playing giant Jade minions on the field.
They are getting pretty big.
He's going to cash in the Wild Growth, turn it into excess mana for the Gadget turn next turn.
Acolyte's not a bad draw here for DrHippi.
Sure. Using Wild Pyromancer, he can draw off of it.
Let's see. So Infested Tauren can go into the Primordial Drake. You can use the Tyrion into the 4/4 Wild Pyromancer, excuse me, Alkali Pain Wild Pyromancer, Forbidden Healing your Tyrion for the tempo. Trade your 1/1 into something before that happens. Alternative line, DC?
Well, you can not do any Wild Pyromancer shenanigans, take some trades, and just drop Acolyte on the field.
Question is, does DrHippi feel like he's under a bit of a clock and needs to start smacking the face?
He feels like he wants to take value trades.
Alright.
Which I'm not so sure is the greatest plan in the world, but he's saying, all right, with these line of play, he's saying, all I need to do is find N'Zoth, and instead of trying to win the game without N'Zoth, he says, I can't win unless I get N'Zoth, so I'm going to control the board to the best of my ability and stall out for as much time as I possibly can to find the N'Zoth, instead of winning without it. So he's fully committing to relying on the N'Zoth, which makes sense in a N'Zoth deck, I guess. I just thought he might have had enough pressure on the board currently to be able to get there, but with this line, he clearly says, I don't have enough pressure on this board to get there. 37 is a big number, and Druid has a lot of healing.
Yeah. Here comes the Miracle Gadgets in turn, so to speak. Thijs is inclined to swipe this Acolyte or deal with it with the Wrath or something like that, just to make sure that DrHippi draws into that N'Zoth that much slower. Picks up Double Nourish, which is not what he wants to see. He already has a bit of a clunky hand.
It's not bad. It's definitely not bad to have Double Nourish. It's a lot of nice card draw.
Somewhat awkward for DrHippi because he probably just has to play Doomsayer and hope that he picks up something nice next turn.
Yeah, Doomsayer, heal yourself, draw N'Zoth, win the game.
Really not a whole lot else.
And then after that, it's like Pyro Equality, set up to draw N'Zoth, hope you win the game. he's just gonna keep doing that, and he's just rolling those dice. The odds are probably in his favor to hit N'Zoth at this point in the next 3 draws, or however long he can stall for. Maybe he can stall for 4, but we're gonna find out.
Okay, for a second I thought he healed the Infested Tauren just to save the 2/2 slime. Just thrown off a bit there. Anyway, Thijs does have Double Nourish though for moments like these.
It's a good moment.
Let's see, it's gonna go to 9 with this first one, which means he can't actually use the second one. It could fail race for the armor right now if he doesn't feel like he needs removal. And with 2 Wraths in hand, that might not be too bad of an idea. Now he's gonna cycle.
Just take care of the 2/2 and draws a card. Not too bad. It's like Spell Power Wrath.
Kind of. Because he could have just used his hero power. Just draw a card and heal yourself for 2, essentially. Well, that's
not it.
Sad.
So he's Dirty Rat, yeah. Setting
I was wondering if
Wild Pyro Equality.
Well, I was wondering if you just wanted to Dirty Rat the following turn after your opponent develops, right? They develop, they hold back one thing, and then you just Dirty Rat that last thing.
Okay.
And Pyro Quality that.
Yeah, I think that might have actually been better. Just waiting on the Dirty Rat, just hero power pass this turn, then go Dirty Rat Wild Pyro Equality.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now they know not to overcommit here, like, because they're like, they know the Dirty Rat's there. Previously, they may not expect the Dirty Rat, and then hold back 1 minion, like you said, and get punished.
And DrHippi played that off the right side of his hand, so Thijs is like, that's Pyro and that's Equality.
Yeah.
Second Gadget comes in the hand here for Thijs, and again, DrHippi's losing out on his window to pick up that N'Zoth, and even at this point, I think that Thijs might even be able to withstand the N'Zoth at this point.
Yeah, just by spamming Jades into it. Because the N'Zoth's not going to have lethal on the backswing, so you can kind of just ignore it and just play a big board.
Not even Double Ashbringer can save DrHippi, I don't think, in this game.
Jade Druid, man. So much healing. I don't know why they gave this deck so much healing. You can't even race it down anymore.
Well, it allows it to deal with some of the more aggressive decks, right?
Right, and make it impossible for Control to beat it. Even more so than it already was.
Cycling for, again with the Wrath.
He still needs to find the idols and thin out his deck so he can go infinite.
Right.
It sets up for the gadget.
He has the nerf in hand, though.
Yeah, but he wants to set up the gadget.
True. Well, at least he is the other piece of value in DrHippi's deck, but at this point, it's already too little too late. Can't even really Wild Pyromancer Pyro because you're giving them a 7/7. You could do that in Aldor, but you're kind of just putting a band-aid on a very large wound.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to DrHippi's credit, I really like the way he played this game. He went full tempo and set himself up for a top deck N'Zoth that just never came, and that's where he's running into trouble.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how the deck sort of works, you know. It's one of those decks where if you don't hit the N'Zoth against a deck that threatens to go infinite like Jade Druid, then you're gonna run out of steam. You can't really keep up with them.
It's also the danger of cutting things like the Stonehill Defender and kind of playing towards more of an anti-aggro style in order to make sure you get that win percentage cleared off. Because in this situation, you're not getting the Tyrians, you're not getting what you need to finish off the game. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit biased. I like the Stonehill Defender.
It's not a bad card. I don't know. I just don't like N'Zoth Paladin that much.
True.
So I'm a bit biased. But I've been casting N'Zoth Paladin for 2 weeks now, so...
Yeah. I actually do know the feeling.
Yeah. It's the lowest win rate deck I've ever casted.
Really?
Yep.
Oh. Well,
in the first 5 days of the EU versus CN, it went in the single digits of win rate. Like, that's just... How? How does that even happen? But yeah, N'Zoth Paladin accumulating the first loss. Tice's remaining decks, Gunther Mage and Midrange Murloc Paladin. Midrange Murloc Paladin is one of the best decks in the game against N'Zoth Paladin, as it has the ability to just always have pressure, because you can hold back things like Gentle Megazord or the Warlord, or the Murloc War Leader, and what happens is all of your little tokens that you leave on the field suddenly become super dangerous. All of your Murlocs are super dangerous, and your opponent has to waste equality clears on things that you just invested hero powers into. And then when they finally run out of equality clears and leave behind a bunch of hero powers, you just slam 2 Murloc War Leaders and a Megazord and kill them.
Yep. Well, we'll see that game plan come to fruition here potentially.
Yeah.
As Tice starts off going first with the Murloc Tidecaller.
Yeah, I mean, going first with Murloc Tidecaller, not having to face down a Doomsayer is disgusting, especially if he picks up a Rock Pool here, just hits the Dream 1, 2, 3, 4. It can just be lights out instantly from that.
Yeah, Tidecaller into Rock Pool into War Leader is... Well, in the Blessing of Kings as well, but just those 3 by themselves, you thought that that Tunnel Trog into Total Golem was bad.
He's got the Doomsayer, though, so he's got this under control.
Wow.
Being able to shut down the start's going to be super good, and you got to imagine he coins it out here to try and play around the 2-drop Murlocs here. If you don't coin it out, then your opponent can play a Murloc and then play War Leader the next turn, and then you just lose. So you have to coin it out.
What if he believes that the only way he wins this matchup is if he can hold onto this coin?
Hold on, just to get the 8 drops out, or the fast Spike Ridge Steed?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. It is a risk to hold it back. It's just, I don't find the coin all that valuable. Like, it's decent. He's gonna let it go. He's a risky man. And he's dead.
And he's dead.
Well, he may have a plan here with Dirty Rat Doomsayer for a high-value Doomsayer down the line. And, something like that.
Dirty Rats, no. the War Leader puts the Tide Colors out of range health-wise of dying to the Dirty Rat, and they kill it off. So I'm gonna go for the the Doomsayer right now.
It's
gonna die.
And,
well, Pyro.
Well, no, Pyro does not clear
Oh, right, yeah.
Murloc Tide Callers because of the buff. True Silver Champion would be the best draw in his deck.
And he drew the True Silver.
There you go, he's got a chance. It's definitely not a good chance, though, because he's about to get kingsed and domed. And these guys are huge now.
Still like a 3-3 and a 2-3? Sorry, a 3-2 and a 2-2.
Right. So now he needs to find the Consecration. Oh, the Gentle Megasword picked up. You do that. Wow.
So he's looking for probably health buff to play around Consecration.
Yeah.
Does get the health. Also has the plants. Now he's wondering, do I play around Pyroclear or do I play around just simple Consecration? Because if he has Consecration, then if he just has Consecration, nothing else, then the health is better. But this is more resilient.
Really?
You know, if you had your druthers, you'd keep your Murlocs alive, but
yeah, this plays around the equality clears. Yeah, sure. Wild Pyro equality.
But are you that mad if you? Well, I guess you are pretty mad if you.
Yeah, I mean that's all your stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
You appreciate your stuff. You want that to stick around. It's good stuff.
Yeah, because your entire hand, other than the rag, is just buffing. So.
Yeah. Those need targets.
I can see it.
All right. King's the 2/2, all face. Let's go. Unless he wants to play around Aldor, then he's going to take a trade. He does want to play around Aldor. And equality. Pretty smart. I got excited. I wanted to smork.
Still has a lot of damage. DrHippi doesn't really have much to deal with it.
So Thijs going to tie the series up 2-2. Now you might be able to come back here, but it's gonna
be Dirty Rat. He just heal. You just heal up your opponent's board. All right, here we go.
You could pull the 3/3. No, he is real dead.
Yeah, he's gonna play the second one as well, so it didn't really matter in the end.
And now he draws an equality clear, and he's right back in the game.
Oh, that's a warrior.
That's going to buff one of them up to get through. The other one's going to go up to 9. And then that's 12 damage.
Oh, no.
Thijs is 1 damage off lethal, right? He's close.
Yeah.
I think you'd do it. Then your opponent equality clears, and...
you have plants, yeah.
You have plants, and you kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, you just do it, because the plants will kill him. You even have buffs on the plants if you need them.
Yeah.
So he needs equality, or Pyro equality and Holy Light. And even then, there would be 4 + 2 on the field. So he'd actually live by 1 still, but he'd be facing down another board, so... Yeah.
It's a tough one to win. Yeah, you can see why the mid-range Murloc Paladin is just so effective against the N'Zoth Paladin.
Look at this 9/7.
Yeah. The N'Zoth Paladin focuses on big board clears, which are great when your opponent develops, vanilla minion after vanilla minion. But when all the minions they develop synergize with each other, then you kind of have to kill them all incrementally. You can't just kill them all in one go at the end because they keep stacking buffs on one another and getting ridiculous. So it's not an area where the N'Zoth Paladin excels in. So it gets really punished by any sort of synergy deck that when a minion sticks, gets huge benefit out of it.
Well, we're getting to a situation where DrHippi finally has the ability to just outlast the opponent, which is what this deck is reasonably good at doing sometimes.
Wow. We've seen healing-wise Ragnaros Lightlord, Lay on Hands, and 1 Forbidden Healing, which isn't the most healing. And Ivory Knight, okay. It's still, I would generally say that this is slightly Gunther Mage favored. They just have great ability to keep tempo on the board and kill the opponent. Whereas N'Zoth Paladin is a little slower.
Yeah, and this is why people have made the switch over from freeze mage to this variant, because yeah, you can sell your opponent with the freeze, but you can just get the damage in already.
Yeah, it's just it's another deck that punishes these control decks that try and wait for a bunch of minions to accumulate, then clear them all at once. Well, if you do that with Mana Worm and Sorcerer's Apprentice, you're gonna die.
Well, Battling Book comes into the hand here, which fills out Theis' curve. You can also pick up something like Primordial Glyph.
Not the
Freezing Potion
card.
It is tempo though.
He's thinking about utilizing it here. Stop True Silver Champion from killing his Sorcerer's Apprentice.
So also thinking about this trade, because again, 2 Silver Champion, if it did come out and he didn't freeze, but yeah, the face damage is very relevant here. Every bit matters, so that if they heal, you can Alex them down later.
Mm-hmm. Try and force him to have to use that heal pre-Alex. If you can get him into that like 15-ish range and hold on to maybe some glyph cards to confuse him a little bit, you'll force him into situations where they have to heal, and then you just bam, Alex them back down to 15, and they're right in the danger zone again.
Yeah, we've seen that before. A lot of players have really maximized the value of what glyph can possibly do, right? And they just hold it on their hand, and you know this could be burn. You got to heal there.
The bluff value of glyph.
Excellent bluff value. Well, Theis can clear this off technically, but it doesn't seem like a worthwhile investment.
Yeah, chooses to save his fireball and just let the 2-drop trade with the 2-drop. But this does give initiative to DrHippi, and he actually has fairly strong plays.
But yeah,
he's got a curve.
Yeah, 4 into 5 into 6 into another 6, and then it's on his way.
I would not be surprised to see Coin Spike Ridge Steed here, allowing him to trade up and putting a powerful minion in play.
The slime's going to be all grown up. Actually, not really. Just riding a steed. He's kind of just cheating. Riding a Stegodon. I kind of want to ride a Stegodon.
Looks like a good time. You gain a lot of health. Very healthy to ride a Stegodon. Adds years to your life. You also gain taunt though, so everybody wants to punch you in the face. So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, you're a little bit healthy, but then everyone just smack you and you fall.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Arcane Intellect is a welcome sight here for Theis. Just need to be able to get through his deck. Let's see. He can't pick up a Memorial Glyph. Wow. That's 2-mana fireball.
That, yeah. That one you can hold in your hand and pretend it's burned because it is burned.
And then actually burn your opponent down.
It gives Theis the ability to potentially 18 DrHippi, which is a surprising range to die from. Typically speaking, you expect around 15 burst at any one given turn from a mage opponent, with the absence of Ice Lance from the game now. But that'll get you.
It will.
So he goes with Frostbolt, though. What do you think about that?
Maybe to... I was going to say is to combine with the Medivh, but he already has the Freezing Potion. I mean, not that you want a 0-mana minion, but just to be able to do something on the same turn.
Okay.
And, like, you know, get the Medivh out, kind of force your opponent to deal with it without the minions on board already, but, you know... Well, now that he's using the potion, that makes a little bit more sense, potentially, if that's his motive.
The potion here holds on to his Mana Worm, holds on to his Thalanos, so he has the spell power Firelands portal next turn to punch through it.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's thinking about, right? I need the Frostbolt for next turn. I just need as much tempo right now, and then Medivh can kind of carry me.
Sure, so next turn is Firelands portal and the Frostbolt, setting up for a Medivh on 8 with full board control. So you can just go ham and pound DrHippi into the ground as fast as possible.
Seems like the plan here.
Meanwhile,
and DrHippi kind of stuck because doesn't really want to play Ivory Knight. But feels like maybe he has to, just to get some more power on the board. Double Acolyte's also a thing.
With this play, he's really saying, I need to cycle into some board clear. I'm looking for that equality combo. He knows Firelands Portal is about to come out, so his opponent's going to have many minions in the field, so finding some way to deal with that is super beneficial.
Yeah, and these Acolytes are just going to draw so many cards. Think about the situation here for DrHippi is that even if your opponent could make you overdraw right here, it'd still be good for you. So because you just get through your deck so much.
4 damage Frostbolt going in. And then a 5 damage Mana Worm going in. 9 damage going into the Steed. Just to save the Thalnos there. It's kind of interesting.
Well, the Cyclotron, very good to pick up here because now these Acolytes can't really feast on the Thalnos.
Yeah. Thijs could have done 3 additional damage to his opponent by Frostbolting face instead and trading in the Thalnos alongside the Mana Worm.
Yeah, that's...
This plays into True Silver Champion really hard, too, because that gives him a convenient way to answer the Psychotron while drawing off the Acolytes. I wonder why he prioritizes holding on to this Thalnos so much. Turn 7 isn't really a key turn, I can imagine, where Spell Power will help him too much.
Yeah, I'm kind of racking my brain thinking about that myself.
No True Silver for DrHippi, though, so he can't punish him in any way. He needs to try and set up a Doomsayer or something like that. He needs to get rid of this Mana Worm. That thing's going to kill him. That guy's huge. He's got nothing. He's looking off Ivory Knight, maybe for an answer to Mana Worm. He's debating whether or not running the Acolyte in. Okay. Go max heal with it. Takes the Holy Wrath, which maybe gets stuff done next turn. Thijs could potentially kill him.
Would be taking a lot of damage, so... Alright, Kusarov with the Primordial Glyph, he is going to go ahead and do so. And that's another Frostbolt for even more damage. Has the Thalnos on the field still, so how much damage are we looking at right here?
He gets double spell power, kind of, because the Mana Worm and Thalnos are both on the field, so... Yeah.
11, and then 12, 13 with the damage like you mentioned, and then plus 7, I think it's on board right now.
And there's a 5, so and then a 1, and then a 3. So there's 10 on board. The Frostbolt's 5, so that's 15. And then the Fireball is 7, so 22. Or no, the Fireball's 8. So 23 damage Thijs could have this turn. So not quite lethal, but it's still not a bad chunk of change.
I'm going to go for the bit of the safer play here, though. And get the H damage to face in. There's no real great way. The thing is, if you're a Thijs, right, it's like the classic problem with Paladin is they can't heal and clear the board at the same time. And I suppose Thijs is thinking, well, you know, because of that, I can kind of use that to my advantage. But DrHippi has several turns to go about this. You know, it's the issue with Paladin being able to heal or being able to not heal and clear the board at the same time is, you know, turn considerations, mana considerations. But at the moment, DrHippi isn't under that much pressure. Maybe let him off the hook a little bit.
Well, I mean, it seemed like a lot of pressure until the Mana Worm was gone. Getting rid of that was huge, alleviating a lot of pressure. But Thijs should be able to set up lethal for the following turn. So if you just trade in the Thalnos into the, or if you ping the bubble and then just Firelands Portal the 2/2, jam everything to the face, that sets up lethal. You could Firelands Portal the face, ping the bubble, and trade in maybe the 3/3, go face for 5, that sets up lethal. A lot of ways to set up lethal for next turn.
Yeah, so this is 6 damage, and then you give back 2 by doing this. The other way, you get 3 more to the face. Maybe it would have been better, like you mentioned, just go to the face there with the Cyclotron. Because it's -5 in a way, so you only get 1 damage this way?
You gain the 1 extra damage. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Because now he's at exactly 10, which is exactly how much Pyroblast does.
Fun fact.
Yeah, I like the setup there by Thijs to try and create the lethal, and now DrHippi needs to worry about a Pyroblast coming in over the top and all of these minions coming in, the front gates. And he doesn't have very many options.
How did this happen? How did Thijs just gained board control, and DrHippi has a lot more minions than Thijs does in the
deck? Yeah. He's got these really inefficient Death Rattle minions, and he never found an equality clear or any way to kind of clean up the board, and he just slowly fell behind as Thijs was able to push through damage with removal spells.
Right, well, heal to near full it is. What else to do? Let's see. So 12 on board. Wow, that is.
Nope, he's one off.
12 plus 14, yeah.
Thijs saved this Thalnos. He lost 3 damage saving this Thalnos, and this Thalnos has ended up making back that damage in dividends. I was kind of calling him out. I was like, wow, that seems kind of silly to save the Thalnos there, but this Thalnos has put forth 6 damage since then, so it's really just doubled the amount that he would have got by cashing it in way earlier. So good on him, just recognizing, hey, DrHippi doesn't have AoE. I'm going to make this Thalnos stick and punish him for not having any AoE.
That's going for the more clunky option here, realizing that his opponent's dead either way if he can't clear the board / heal, which Paladin can't.
Yeah.
So that is just going to be it. Pulls the Medivh, gets the board a little bit bigger. DrHippi sees what's going on over there. And Thijs reverse sweeps.
Yeah.
Paladin. Like you mentioned.
Soft Paladin. The last tournament I casted, it was the lowest win rate deck, and thus far in the StarLadder and iLeague, it is the lowest win rate deck. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I try to tell people, don't bring the Soft Paladin, man. It's too reactive and too exploitable. It's not a good Hearthstone deck. And they tell me, nah, man, it's great. And
no? I believe Shoop won a DreamHack with it.
He did. But no one was playing N'Zoth Paladin at that time. No one knew how to play against it. People have smartened up. Thijs has figured it out. He can realize, hey, this is how you punish N'Zoth Paladin. Bam, job's done. Punish. So it's just, it keeps happening, man. It keeps happening. I really don't want to cast more N'Zoth Paladin. I hope we have more players not bringing it, because it seems to be just such an exploitable deck in this Conquest format.
Yeah, and not just playing against it with your gameplay, but also with your deck choices. But
right.
Our next, sorry, go ahead.
DreamHack Austin was last year's standing as well.
Oh, right.
So that's a totally different thing. You could choose when you wanted to queue up your N'Zoth Paladin. You could choose what you wanted to queue it into, and it didn't have to get a win. You could just lose with it and move on with your life, and your other decks could carry you through. Conquest, every deck has to give a win, and it's just too exploitable for the format, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, our next match of the day, the last match of today, is going to be Nyria versus Bunny Hopper. Nyria up to that 1-0 start, Bunny Hopper as well, actually, up to a 1-0 start. So we'll see who wins between our winners here coming up next after this.